What did Putin really want when he invaded Ukraine? Dr. Weigel, Putin's ambition. Dr. George Weigel is a senior fellow of the Washington Center for Ethics and Public Policy, and biographer of Pope St. John Paul II. After Putin sent troops to invade Ukraine, he wrote an article in First Things titled On Ukraine. For months now, the world press has been describing Russian troop deployments along the border. Ukraine is the spearhead of a possible invasion. However, the truth is that Russia invaded Ukraine 7 years ago, when Russia annexed Crimea, and Russia's Little Blue Man sparked a war in eastern Ukraine that claimed the lives of more than 14,000 people, and more than 1 million people were displaced. Whatever the current military development, a Russian invasion of Ukraine is not imminent. That invasion is taking place. That fact has been obscured by a large-scale Russian propaganda and disinformation campaign. So there are a number of facts that must be stated. First truth, this is the Russian crisis, not the Ukraine crisis. What is often called the Ukraine crisis is entirely attributed to Russian dictator Vladimir Putin. Ukraine did not create this crisis. The United States did not create it, and neither did NATO. The North Atlantic Treaty Organization, which has been, is, and will always be a defensive alliance, is no longer a threat to Russian national security, nor is NATO a threat to national security. By Botswana. The claim that NATO threatens Russia is a big lie that disturbs the security realities in Central and Eastern Europe. The former Soviet vassal states are Poland, Czech Republic, Slovakia, Hungary, Romania, Bulgaria, and the Baltic states of Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia joined NATO because they feared Russia, not because they intended to invade Russia. The same rationale explains Ukraine's application to join NATO. Second fact, this artificially created crisis, aimed at destabilizing and subjugating Ukraine, is one of the manifestations. Shows Putin's determination to overturn the verdict of history during the Cold War. Putin has been pretty clear about this for 20 years, and only fools or those who see through the ideological lens of national conservatism fail to understand what is happening here. Putin, the old KGB apparatus, is trying to overturn the victories of fledgling democracies over adept autocracies in the revolution of 1989 and the breakup of the Soviet Union in 1991. Grand strategic goal. It is at the heart of the recently announced alliance between Putin's corrupt dictatorship in Russia and Xi Jinping's genocidal regime in China, an announcement these two villains made just before World War II. Winter Olympics. Putin and Xi want nothing more than a fundamental rearrangement of world affairs, in what their oppressive regimes call reconciliation. In the tyrant's quest for global hegemony, Ukraine and Taiwan play the same role as Austria and Czechoslovakia in the late 1930s. If they fall into the hands of tyrants, the others will take turns. Follows. Third fact, Russia's ongoing aggression in Ukraine is caused by a misrepresentation of history, including Christian history. Putin's claim that Ukraine is not a real country is bolstered by another big lie, that Russia is the sole heir to the Eastern Slavic baptism in 988, and thus, is the sole legitimate defender of what Putin's thinkers and apologists call Russky Mir, or the Russian world. However, Ukraine, the Orthodox communities and the Ukrainian Eastern Rite Catholic Church have at least as strong claims to that historic heritage as Russia and the Russian Orthodox Church. The resurgence of Russian imperialism today is perhaps not surprising. Old habits are difficult to change. But the role of the Russian Orthodox Church, or ROK for short, in supporting Putin's attempts to distort history and his new empire designs is doing serious damage to the cause of Christ. In a country recovering from the ravages of state-sponsored atheism, Archbishop Hilarion, chairman of the ROK's Ecumenical Commission, recently received from President Putin the Order of St. Alexander Nevsky for his great contributions to the development of international relations and between Christian denominations. The reason for the award can be read more honestly like this: for services to the Russian state and the current Kremlin regime. Fourth fact, Russian aggression in Ukraine is aimed at on everyone, including children. Russia's mixed war against democracy in Ukraine has included some 1,000 fake bomb threats that have closed schools across Ukraine since the start of the year, 10 times more than the billion fake bomb threat rates in 2020 and 2021. What kind of person would deliberately terrify hundreds of thousands of children and their parents in an attempt to destabilize a peaceful, non-threatening neighbor? The one who murdered Boris Nemtsov and poisoned Alexei Novotny, the one who meddled in the elections of other countries, and the one who lied in public with the brazenness of making Joachim von Ribbentrop blush. The Catholic Church Eastern Rite Ukraine, which has worked so effectively to rebuild civil society in present-day Ukraine, has asked fellow Catholics for prayerful support. That courageous church deserves it, and it's not just Ukrainians who are in debt to it. Source: First Things on Ukraine. Author of the article, JB, translated by Dang Minan.